Cowboy romance is more than hats and hayrides. It's actually one of the most versatile spaces in romance, and today we're breaking down what cowboy romance really is, where it came from, and why BookTok can't stop thirsting over the emotionally repressed ranchers. Welcome to Reading Under the Covers, a romance novel podcast where we chat, fangirl, and maybe even swoon over our latest reads. I'm Francesca from Under the Covers Book Blog, and today we have another episode of our Trope Talk, where we unpack your favorite romance storylines and all of the messy, swoony characters who bring them to life. Today we are going out west, or at least to the nearest small-town feed store, and to find a hot man with some hay in his hair. That's right, we're going to be talking about cowboy romance, and not just the boots and banter, but the whole tangled mix of tropes, subgenre, and character types that has been galloping through the romance world for decades. But first things first, what is cowboy romance? Is it a trope? Is it a subgenre or a character type? And the answer is actually yes. Cowboy romance is all three, depending on how you look at it. So cowboy romance is usually treated as a niche subgenre within contemporary romance. So think of it like the setting usually also has tight-knit communities, family legacy drama, but the cowboy is also an archetype, meaning you have a rugged but emotionally constipated hero, or in rare occasions, heroine. They are loyal, hardworking, and allergic to therapy. Sometimes that could be a rancher, and sometimes it's a bull rider. Sometimes they're just hot in denim. Farmers often fall under this general umbrella as well. So it's less about the hat and more about the works in the land kind of thing, plus a deep sense of duty and the hands-on, no-nonsense attitude. Now, cowboy romance, it's also a cluster of tropes. So while cowboy romance can be considered a trope as well, it also usually comes along with a certain mix of common tropes, or let's call them the subtropes of the cowboy romance subgenre. For example, some of the very popular and favorites can be the cowboy romance fake dating, like for example, Must Love Cowboys by Carly Bloom, where we have a grumpy cowboy and a bookish librarian, and they enter into this fake dating pact that quickly turns real. He needs some tutoring and she needs a wedding date, and chemistry comes free with this one. Another common one is the fish out of water that usually involves maybe a heroine from a big city moving to the small town, and I'm actually gonna suggest one for you here that is out of this world. So when I talk fish out of water, it's really out of water, and I'm gonna go with Cowboy from the Future by Cassandra Gannon. This is actually a time-traveling heroine who crash lands into the arms of a bewildered cowboy. So it's got a bit of sci-fi chaos, some humor, and lots of heart. One of the most popular pairings, though, it's the single dad / nanny romance in cowboy romance, and a great example of that is Spun Out by Lorelei James. This is a PTSD scarred army vet heroine who takes her job as a nanny to a single dad's unruly daughter and ends up taming more than just the tantrums. This one is steamy and super emotional. We also have the classic grumpy sunshine, like for example Heartless by Elsie Silver, where we have a grumpy rancher single dad, a sunshine nanny. See the trend here? It's another single dad nanny pairing, but this one is a slow burn small town romance that will hit you hard and leave you swooning. We also have queer cowboy romance, like for example A Second Harvest by Eli Easton, where a lonely Mennonite farmer and a burnt out city boy form an unexpected connection over shared meals and second chances. And like I said before, you can actually step out of contemporary to find cowboys. You can find them as well in historical context. So for historical example, we have Eyes of Silver and Eyes of Gold by Ellen O'Connell. This is basically a forced marriage between two social outcasts in 1885 Colorado, which becomes this unforgettable love story of healing and standing up to family cruelty. So now that we've talked about what cowboy romance is, whether it's a subgenre, a trope, or a character type, or even a cluster of tropes, let's talk a little bit about the brief history of cowboy romance, because you can't really talk about cowboy romance without tipping your hat to the 1980s. That's when Western heroes started showing up in category romance, especially in lines like Harlequin American, Silhouette Special Edition, and later Love Sweat. This was the era of Diana Palmer, who basically built a rancher-based empire of emotionally constipated men and the heroines who cracked their gruff exterior. Cowboys became the American version of the alpha hero. not the CEOs, but the land-rich men with tragic past and some six-packs from just wrangling cattle. And honestly, readers ate that up. Cowboy romance took over the 80s and the 90s in paperback, and some authors, like Diana Palmer, are still writing that same trail today, dialogue quirks and all. If you actually want a full deep dive into the era, I've got a new series going on Substack where I talk about the evolution of the romance genre through the decades called Once Upon a Genre. And actually this week we're going to be deep diving the 1980s, so be sure that you are checking that out and you are subscribed for free so you don't miss any one of those decades, one every single week. But as the genre has evolved, of course, came the time of BookTok. As we know, BookTok is in its cowboy romance era, and these are some of the romances that readers are currently obsessed with, whether it's the small town angst or some rodeo royalty. So I know that they're probably at the top of your TBR if you haven't read them yet. The first one is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. We have a rodeo champ's sister who returns home to heal and ends up falling for her brother's best friend. It's got small town sweetness, a slow burn, and all the yearning. Then we have Alive and Wells by Bailey Hanna. This one is a big city girl who takes on a job on a rural ranch and ends up falling for the moody, grumpy cowboy who has sworn off love. Or how about Dust Storm by Maggie Gates? This is a city PR rep who is stuck on a ranch with a grumpy cowboy and his kids, and she's engaged to someone else. So there's banter, tension, and lots of emotional depth. Then, of course, the classic Flawless by Elsie Silver. Elsie Silver is the current queen of cowboy romance on BookTok. This one is a bull rider who meets his match in the agent's daughter who's hired to babysit him. There's one bed, an off-limits attraction, and one hell of a romance. And last, Smooth Talking Cowboy by Macy Yates. Macy Yates is such a prolific author, and she continues to write category romance for Harlequin, so you can find so many cowboy romances in her backlist. In Smooth Talking Cowboy, our heroine needs a fake boyfriend. He needs land. Neither of them expects any sparks, but of course this is an opposites attract story and a flirty small town setup with all of the classic cowboy charm, so you'll definitely love this one. Now, I also think that we can't talk about cowboy romance if we don't talk about the authors who paved the trail. These are the authors who helped build the genre. Some are still going strong today, but they're definitely must reads if you want to know where the genre came from, and of course to read some amazing stories. The Rawhide Man by Diana Palmer. We have a business-first cowboy who proposes a marriage of convenience that quickly turns into something deeper. It's classic Palmer, it's gruff, old school, and somehow still irresistible. We have Once a Rancher by Linda Lael Miller, a cowboy filmmaker who tries to save a troubled teen and ends up falling for the boy's guardian. It's got found family, slow burn, and a swoony western vibe. Up next, of course, our queen of cowboy romance, Lorelei James. We have Long Hard Ride. It's the series opener for the Rough Riders series. It's got rodeo kink, dominant cowboys, and lots of heat. It's sexy and an emotional ride straight into modern cowboy erotica. And Janet Daly, who is one of the first to center cowboys in commercial American romance through the Harlequin line. Her backlist actually helped define the genre. Why do readers love cowboy romance? There is something so nostalgic but grounded about cowboy romance. It's about hard work, family ties, quiet love, wide open spaces, but also lots of secret scars, some epic pining, and sometimes a lot of shirtless scenes around hay bales. I think it's the perfect hit of low-tech romance with a high drama world where the biggest twist might actually be a surprise wedding or a loose bull on the ranch. That simplicity really feels like a reset, which I think is something that a lot of us are gravitating towards right now. Now, here's something we don't talk about enough. Real-life cowboys, a huge number of them were actually Black, Indigenous, and Mexican. Historically, 1 in 4 cowboys was actually Black, but pop culture erased that. So thankfully, romance authors are reclaiming that space. And if you want some cowboy stories that center BIPOC characters, I've got some recommendations for you, because yes, a lot of cowboy romance centers white characters and white authors. So the first one that I'm going to recommend is Wild Rain by Beverly Jenkins. This one is about a fiercely independent rancher. This is our hero heroine, and a journalist who fall for each other in post-Civil War Wyoming. She wears the pants and he can't stop falling. Then we have A Cowboy to Remember by Rebecca Weatherspoon. This is a modern black cowboy fairy tale. It's got amnesia, a childhood crush, and some Hollywood drama. And last, High Moon by Katie Wilde. This is a paranormal romance with a werewolf cowboy, a biracial heroine, and lots of pack politics. This is a romance with claws, one very dirty mouth, and a rancher who helps her save her land. Now, on the topic of not contemporary, cowboy romance isn't just about Texas ranches. Sometimes it's in other planets or Australia or historical Wyoming, and sometimes it may have a ghost or two. So if you're looking to step out of your comfort zone when you're reading some cowboy romance, I've got some recommendations for you. Starting with some paranormal cowboys, and that is the 7 Range Shifter series by Kate Ballinger. This is werewolf cowboys, pack rivalries, and fated mates with lots of flannel. Think alpha energy, but turned all the way up. For alien cowboys, we have Married to an Alien Rancher by Ursa Dax. She marries a quiet alien cowboy to escape trouble. He is big, broody, and might be catching feelings. Sci-fi small town in a whole new planet. Now for non-American cowboys, we have Taming His Princess by Mary Carr and Lexi Cooper. She flew to Australia to meet a cowboy and ended up falling for his twin brother. It is steamy, funny, and full of unexpected heart. And Rocky Mountain Heat by Vivian Arend. This one is the oldest brother, girl next door. She moves in and the barn burning heat follows. This one is set in Canada and is sexy and emotional, and I would consider Vivian Arend the original queen of Canadian cowboys. And if you're looking for some historical flair, I've got Caine's Reckoning by Sarah McCarthy. This is the Hell's 8 series, which is a historical cowboy erotic romance series. This one has a Texas Ranger who rescues a kidnapped woman and finds love where he least expects it. So definitely these stories go deeper into the cowboy romance trope, but they all deliver that survival, that grit, and those love stories with real stakes. Whether you're here for the rodeo, the legacy drama, or you just want to live vicariously through a heroine who gets the guy and the ranch, cowboy romance has a saddle waiting for you. And whether your cowboy rides a horse, a dragon, or a spaceship, he probably has a tragic past, a flannel shirt, and some serious pining issues. Now, I would love to hear from you guys. What are your favorite cowboy romances? Are you team grumpy cowboy or single dad cowboy? Any cowboy recs that you have, drop them in the comments, and let me know if you guys want me to rank my top 10 cowboy heroes. If you're doing the Romance Happily Reading Challenge this year with us, don't forget that cowboy romances fit perfectly for the Blooming Acres Farm prompt, so definitely you can use any of the recommendations I just talked about today for the challenge. But with that, that is all I have for today's trope talk about cowboy romance. I hope that you guys enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most popular subgenres, niches, or tropes in romance, and I would love to know what you guys want me to talk about next. So be sure to send me a DM or leave a comment so that I know what you guys are looking forward to the most. If you're tuning in from YouTube, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification so you don't miss any content from us. And you can also subscribe for free on our Substack so you don't miss any content that we post across all of our platforms. But for now, that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you find something wonderful to read this week, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!